Glasses on or off? Glasses on, glasses off. Dang it, if I do it off, I can't see. But you can't see me if I have them on. You know what, I'm taking one for the team, but if I can't read, it's all on you. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, hi, hello, my name is Katie, and in today's video, I am going to be talking all about the books that I've recently read. I usually do this every 2 months because if I did it every month, I would have nothing to talk about because I don't read as fast as some other people. So these books are all the books that I read from January, beginning of January until now, and today's March. I've been sick all week and I don't know what day it is. Oh Lord. I don't know. It's like the second week of March. I do know that. That is terrible. I don't know what day it is. Anyway, so if you're new to my channel and you don't quite know how this works, it's pretty simple. I start with the first book that I read all the way back in January, work my way up to my most recent read. I tell you the book, a short synopsis of what it's about with no spoilers, my rating, and just my overall thoughts of the book. So if you guys are ready, let's just get into my recent reads. Okay, starting with the first book that I read all the way back in January, let's take it back. I read The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This is a fairly well-known romance series. There's technically 2.5 books. It's technically not a series. It's like a duology, kinda. There's 2 books and a novella, and then a spin-off series just started. But in this book, you're following Kala, I want to say it's probably more Kala, and she lives in a city in Canada. I'm thinking Toronto. I'm vibing with Toronto. It sounds good. But she just lost her job. She just broke up with her boyfriend, and she gets a call from someone who is in her father's life in Alaska. That's where her father lives. She has not seen her father in many, many years, has not spoken to him. But this person that's in her father's life messages her and be like, you should really come kind of get to know your father. It doesn't really give details as to why. And just lo and behold, this is a perfect time for her to go because she has no job and has no boyfriend. So her friend's like, you should go, and her mom's like, you should go, blah, blah, blah. So she ends up going to the good old wilderness of Alaska, and her dad owns a pilot company. So it's, think of like those, kind of like those bush pilots, like those kind of like helicopters that are kind of tiny. Yeah, so he owns those. And one of the, like, his number 2 person in this book is, his name is Jonah, and he is a grump, and she is a sunshine. So it's a grumpy sunshine romance, enemies to lover romance, which I love, because Jonah has like this preconceived notion that since Kala is like a city girl, she's not going to be able to hack it. She's going to be this Miss Priss. So he just automatically does not like her. However, things change. That's all I'm going to say. I loved this book. I ended up giving it 5 stars. I can't wait to read the second one because I need to know more about this. I loved this book, and it makes me want to visit Alaska, but like not live there because I could not hack it, but visit because it sounds absolutely beautiful. So, okay. Now, the next book I read, Do Not Come For Me. Do Not Come For Me. It's my opinion! But I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And it's not like I didn't like it. I didn't love it.
I don't want to say I had a good time because I did not have a good time, but it was entertaining. You know what I mean?
If you're new and have never seen this book before, I don't know where you've been, but this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this follows Evelyn Hugo, who was a famous actress like in the 50s. Think of the fame along like Marilyn Monroe, but not like look-wise. She's Puerto Rican, where Marilyn Monroe was American. But she's most famous for her 7 marriages that she has had. And she's also known for staying out of the public eye. She doesn't give interviews, anything like that. So when, I think the girl's name is Monica. No, it's not, it's Monique. Yes, her name is Monique. So Monique is a journalist and she's working at like this magazine, and they call her in and be like, Evelyn Hugo has specifically asked for you to do this interview. We don't know why, but like don't mess it up, things like that. No pressure or anything, you know? Fine.
Like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Whoa.
And so she goes to Evelyn Hugo's house. To come to find out, Evelyn wants to give her like full reign, like full access to write a book about her life. The only thing is she can't like publish it until after she's gone. So she's like, sure, blah, blah, blah. And it just goes from there. You find out who like her number one love of her life was, because that's what a lot of people want to know, is who out of all these marriages was her true love, her number one love. So you find that out. There's a twist in it. It just, I don't know, like it just wasn't, it was so overhyped for me that it just let me down. I can't tell you why I didn't love it. I gave it a 4 stars, so like don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but I'll never reread it. It just wasn't like how some people are like, it's amazing, this is like my favorite book of all time. No, it was a good read, but it's like one that it was just for me. The next book I read was a wild ride, okay? It was a wild ride, and I don't know why I did this to myself. Yes, I did. I know why. I wasn't very interested. I read Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. Listen, if you're going into this for like wanting a plot-based masterpiece, this ain't it.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
This ain't it. This is, however, alien smut at its finest, and if you were looking for a good time, you know, this is for you. So this is following our main character named Georgie, and she gets abducted by aliens. Not these aliens, someone else, okay? She gets put into like this pod with other women, and something happens in the spaceship, and they have to like release the pod, and they're going to come back for it later. So they get released down to this ice planet, and they're all pretty much starving to death, cold, dying. Georgie's like, to heck with this, I'm going to go out and find something. Well, she finds something. She finds this dude right here named Vectel, okay? He is an ice planet alien, barbarian. They don't call themselves barbarian. She calls him a barbarian. That's why they get the name. But his something in him, and I cannot remember what it is, but it's like his inner being like hums when she's around, because she is his soulmate.
When one burns for someone who does not feel the same.
And she just does not know it yet. And they can't communicate because they don't understand English. She doesn't understand his language. But it's all just pure alien smut. The scenes are fantastic. He's got a blue ridged tongue. We all know what that means.
Find me a church. I've done everything everybody else wants to do. Find me a church.
It is what it is. Like, this book is the first one in like 20, and each girl apparently is going to get with each, not like each, but like each girl has a soulmate. Each alien has a soulmate. So will I continue? I don't know. But it was a ride to begin with. And it was a fast read, so you know, I may just continue just because. Oh, I forgot my rating. I gave it 3.5 stars because it was just crazy, but it wasn't like a 5-star read, but it was a fun read. It was a fun read. I then picked up Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. This is the second book from her that I read. The first book was The Family Upstairs. I think I liked this one more than The Family Upstairs. The Family Upstairs was just so long. It was a slow burn. But this one I really enjoyed. This is about a mom named Laurel, and her daughter, who was like 16, 14, 15, something like that, named Ellie, goes missing. 10 years goes by, and they finally find Ellie's remains, and she kind of has some closure. And then she ends up meeting this man named Floyd, and they hit it off, and she starts, you know, seeing him. And Floyd has 2 daughters, one who is older and one who's about 9 years old. And when she meets Poppy, who's 9 years old, she is the spitting image of Ellie, her daughter that had disappeared. And the story just kind of goes from there. You have to kind of figure out what is the connection, what's going on, why does she look exactly like her daughter. I loved this book. I loved the twist in this book. Well, there was like multiple twists. And I love a good multiple twist book. It's like a pretzel. You know, it's all there, all the multiple twists, like a pretzel. But I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 4.5 stars. Don't ask me why I didn't give it a 5 stars. I just don't know. I don't know what would have pushed it to 5. I'm just really picky with my 5 stars sometimes. But again, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend this one. The next book I read was one off my YA shelf, because if you don't know, I'm trying to get through my YA shelf so I can have room to put books away, because as you can tell, I've got 2.5 big old stacks that I have no room for to put away. And then I have a book haul behind me that I need to film, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. But I'm trying to get through my YA shelf so I can have room to put new books on. So I read The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, and this book blew me away. I don't read historical fiction because it's just not something I'm interested in, but I loved this book. This book is following Liesel, and she's about 10 years old, 10 to 12, in that age range, and she gets sent to live with a new couple in Germany during World War II, on the brink of World War II. And you're just following her life and the people around her as the war is going on and how it impacts their lives. But the best part of this book was the narrator. It is narrated by Death because, of course, Death was around in that time, very much so. So he saw, it's a he in here. Is it a he technically? Well, I'm calling him a he because he's narrated by a man in the movie. So, but you know, they saw a lot of death. So of course it was fitting that they would narrate it. And this is a movie. It's on HBO Max. If you have HBO Max and have read this and haven't seen the movie, I loved the movie. If you don't know, this is the girl, okay, I'm going on a tangent, but if you've ever seen Yellow Jackets on Showtime, great show, great thriller, great mystery. Watch it if you haven't. It's so good. This is the girl who plays young Shauna, just with blonde hair. And she plays the girl in the movie. So I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 5 stars. It broke me. It literally broke me at the end. The next book that I read was Faker by Sarah Smith. This is a rom-com. This is an enemies to lovers, workplace kind of romance. She works at a company where she does like the descriptions of construction, nails, hammers, tools. That's the word I'm looking for. Description of tools, because she was a journalism student and this was the job that she found. So she's always feels like she's faking her life because she has to fake being this girl boss. She has to fake like not being upset by these men who are always like oogling her at work and things like that. And then she has this coworker who she just, from day one, she tried to be nice to him and he was just like blowing her off. So she's like, fine, well, whatever. But they have to work together on a social media project, and that's what kind of blossoms this romance. However, the only, this was cute, but they got together way too fast. They got together like 70 pages into the book, and I was like, oh, whoa. This is like a 300-page book. Why are we doing this? I just like a little more like drawn out angst in my enemies to lovers, because that's not enemies to lovers to me. That's like 70 pages, and then it's like, we're together, okay. But like, okay. There are a few like steamy scenes in this. It was good writing. I liked it for what it was. It was a good time, but it wasn't like the best romance that I've ever read. I'm pretty sure I gave this a 3.5 stars. I lied. I gave it a 3.25 stars. So a little less, but it was still okay. The next book that I read was 6 Months Later by Natalie D. Richards, and this is a YA thriller. I wanted this book to be so good. I really did. The premise of this book was really good, but the execution was not. But let me tell you about this book. This book is about a junior in high school, just kind of flying by, not really putting in the effort, just kind of going with the flow. And she goes to sleep in school in May. Is it May? Yes, it's in May. She wakes up 6 months later, and her life is completely different. She wakes up in the exact same spot, but her life is completely different. She is now like one of the top of her class. She's got like the boyfriend who she's wanted her whole life. The only difference is her best friend from 6 months ago is no longer speaking to her. So you kind of have to figure out what happened. Why is she missing 6 months of her life? Now, like I said, premise of this book was great, but if it was like 100-page shorter, I think I would have enjoyed it more. Just by the end of the book, I didn't care. It was like drawn it out. It was just drawn it out. And I just did not care anymore at the end of this book.
I said what I said.
I did give it a 3.5 stars because, like I said, the story itself, the premise is good. But this just no ma'am. This did not do it. No ma'am.
No ma'am.
And the last book that I recently read is Well Met by Jen DeLuca, and this is a rom-com, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, beautifulness. I loved this book. I gave it a 4.25 stars, which is good. Like, don't get me wrong, just because it's not a 5 stars doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed myself. I loved this book. This book is following our main character. I cannot think of her name right now. I have sick brain. What was her name? So we are following Emily, and she comes to stay with her sister who was in a car accident. Her sister and her niece were in a car accident. So she comes to stays with them for the summer. Well, her niece wants to join the Renaissance fair that happens at the town every summer. And the only way that she can do it is if she also volunteers. So she gets wrapped into being a wench at the Renaissance fair, and she meets this guy named Simon, who's like the head of the Renaissance fair. But like, there's layers to Simon, and I enjoyed that. There was layers to Simon, and he plays a pirate in the Renaissance fair. So I was just picturing Jack Sparrow, but like, he looks nothing like Jack Sparrow. But if I'm going to picture a pirate, I'm going to picture Jack Sparrow. So, and in the Renaissance fair, they get bonded, which is essentially like married. So they have to fake being married. Oh, it's a fake marriage trope too. Oh my God, I just now realized that, but only in the Renaissance fair. Okay, anyway, I love this book. 4.25 stars. It's got some smutty scenes, so you know, it's got that for you if that's what you like, because that's what I like. And it is the first in a series. There are 2 more, so I definitely want to read those. But like I said, if you're looking for just a cute read, and it's based in Maryland. That's my dog. I live in Maryland, and this was in Willow Creek, Maryland, which I don't think is a real place. I'm not too sure. But apparently in the state of Maryland, there is a huge Renaissance fair every year. So now I need to go. I need to go and be a wench or be something and eat and be merry. But yeah, those are the 8 books that I have read recently. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books and your thoughts, or just let me know what books you have read recently. I would love to know. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And if you're new and have not yet subscribed, I would love to have you as part of the family. Thank you all so much for 400 subscribers as I'm filming this. I greatly appreciate it. Never thought I would get to 400, honestly, but thank you guys so much for watching my videos. If you want to follow me on Goodreads or Instagram, they are linked down below as always, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Now it's time for a thumbnail, and that's the vein of my existence. You don't understand. No. If you don't do them, and then you don't know, it's terrible. Look, I'm already like, don't.
Don't do it, girl. Don't.
One of those ones. Stay. So, don't you dare fall.